Good morning and happy Friday. Today's coffee is brought to you by the Sweater Texture Mug, one of my favorites. I'm just waking up and getting my day going. How's everybody doing? I'm having a very hard time getting my get up and goes to get up and go today. And I know why. I got an alert on my phone that it was leg lamp day and that it was a year ago that two strangers dropped off a leg lamp in the neighbor's yard because they heard that my mom was home on hospice and we were trying to celebrate Christmas early. And it's like, I think the only thing that my brain is screaming is like, how has it been a year and how is your mom gone, right? So I'm working with the grief of that, and I'm not surprised by it. I knew it was coming. I've been editing the footage of of Coffee with Anna when telling that story. Like, that's how we were able to do such big things and how a lot of people came together. And so I want to be able to take all these icky emotions and do something good with it, but I think the icky ones are kind of just too prevalent this morning. So I'm hoping to be able to kind of sit with it and not be drowning in it, and to take all that emotion and turn it into something good. Like, I don't know how to survive it unless I do that. So I think that that's the most positive thing I can do today, I think. I'll say this. I said to Shane, I said, I'm grateful for Coffee with Anna, where the in the moment stuff with my mom is so hard. Like, I definitely told the story of the way that I would tell it to Grayson, and not the hardest parts that were going on that of why we showed up, right? But the medical trauma and the loss and the grief, I'm grateful that I have that story, that I can remember how I told it and how I wanted to remember it and how I wanted to pass that on, instead of the ickiness I feel in the inside about it. I worked through that good a year ago, and now I got to remember how to do that. And I left myself some little tidbits of, Anna, we're going to put our shoes on and we're going to do this because we promised Jamie. And I'm hoping to get those released soon so I can move the train forward. And I made a lot of promises to do good and to continue her legacy in that way, and trying to figure out how to do that every day and make sure she's proud of me is the goal. But man, does it make me miss her. I wish I didn't have to. I wish she was here to tell me how she felt. Grief sucks. So in the sadness of grief, I'm grateful that I was proactive enough to have already. It wasn't a proactive thing. I was already in the habit, and that was the love language that my mom taught me. Is we went through life together, and that's kind of what Coffee with Anna is. Is if you want to go through life with somebody who's open and honest about the shit on the internet, but also tells a good story and is a creative person who does fun stuff. But you take the good, you take the bad. I've been editing and taking the non-permanent footprint that is Coffee with Anna into a blog status, right? And yesterday, the guy that I got all the fabric from, we were communicating because apparently there's 10 more boxes. That's exciting. But he was like, I was telling my family about how you were telling the story, but I couldn't share it with them. And I was looking for it, and I was like, you saw the story, but here, I have an idea. So yesterday I posted 2 different videos, which were just Coffee with Anna's from 2 different days. But it was a very weird thing for me to put that on Facebook, where I've been putting them on YouTube, but not Facebook's where all the people I know are, and the rest. And I barely am on the internet unless I'm writing in my diary. And then I check it a couple times, but it gives me the existentials a lot. As a creative person, the editing and tech part isn't my favorite, but it is a tool that I had to learn how to use to resource all of the help that we've gotten the last 4 or 5 years to be able to navigate our quarantine and Grayson's medical stuff, right? And then my mom. So having Coffee with Anna established as it is my favorite thing, because it's right now I'm able to go back and look at the memories of Jamie Jam's Christmas and tell that story, because it's coming back up in the news and it's getting views, and I want to make sure that her legacy of how wonderful that woman was, that we pay it forward, right? If I do a fundraiser, like how do I tell that story of what happened? I did, but it went away and now people can't see it. So in this transition of things, I'm grateful to not only have a reason to go back and look and edit that footage to lay the groundwork of why we want to do a little fundraiser, right? A little how do you do fundraiser. My love language was telling my mom stories, and her love language was how do you do's. Like, I had a bag that I carried forever that was embroidered with the words how do you do. Like, she'd be like, I went to the store, I got a little how do you do for you. And then she'd be like, I'm going to go to the store, you need anything? And it's like, I need a little how do you do. And she'd get me a little how do you do. So that's, I had a meeting with my brother and we kind of talked about it. And I was like, we don't have to do anything fast. Like for Jamie's birthday, I'm donating a nice, very large quilt to Penny's Purpose for them to raise money, right? But I want to be able to have a little how do you do where, like, for a birthday or Christmas, and you get somebody like a puzzle or a coffee mug or a little how do you do. And on the back of it, that, it says, we're sharing the love of Jamie Jam's Christmas and the spirit of everything amazing, right? That this provided one comfort blanket to a person who needed it, right? Like, that is the goal. So he was on board. My siblings and I and my dad and some of us are going to go up to Lake Lawn for lunch on the 21st, which is, I can't wait, but I haven't been there without her, so woo. But it warms my heart to know that I'm doing something that she would be proud of, and to be able to bring that to the table of, like, okay, guys, I did this part, but this is for us, for her, right? So, like, I'm excited to be able to do that. So I'm doing my due diligence, right? I have to send out her Christmas cards. I'm working on those things that we promised, right? Some of the hard stuff. But telling the story of Jamie Jam's Christmas and the joy of every day, Bones Day or no Bones Day, or who magically showed up and showed up to say hi. Like, her nephews drove in from Florida because they were running away from a hurricane and came to see her. Like, she was so moved, and, like, those are the things I want to remember, So it's helpful. It's healing to my heart. But man, am I a puddle. I don't want to drown in the sadness of her not being here, right? I want to remember the fact that she was like a kid on Christmas because Santa and Mrs. Claus showed up with horses, and she got to see her granddaughter in her Christmas sequin dress in, like, October. So it's like, I'm really trying to remember how wonderful of a time she had, because the community rallied together and helped us send her off in the best farewell ever, right? Oh, and it's my thank you to the community for showing up for us when we really needed it. And it's going to help me be able to show up for them in big ways, because that's what would make my mother proud. Well, told you, I'm a puddle about it. Blah.
So water my soul, take me down the trail, through the highs and the lows, take me all the way up to the soul made of gold, where the light of your love.
Every morning they're like chopping trees or something, and I can't think, and that is throwing my entire life off. But also, this is probably how my neighbors felt when it was power tool spring and Anna was out at 9 o'clock in the morning for 12 hours with a sawzall. You reap what you sow. Apparently I'm on vacation until the trees are finished coming down at the neighbor's house. Today's coffee was going to be brought to you by the Happy Hooker Bait and Tackle, but I can't think. I've discovered that I very much enjoy using air erasable marking pens on my quilts, but I've also discovered that if I mark them and then I get distracted, I have to do it again. This is the fourth time.